In this video, I'm going to talk about what plasterboard is used for. Now, there are many different types of plasterboard. You've got fireboard here, you've got standard square edge plasterboard, and you've also got some moisture resistant plasterboard. Now, plasterboard is primarily used for walls and ceilings. It can be used in new construction and renovation. Specialised plasterboard, such as acoustic plasterboard, can be used to reduce sound transmission between rooms. Acoustic plasterboard is normally blue, and it's got dense fibres in it that help increase its insulative properties. This is particularly useful if you're making a cinema room or something of that nature. You can also double up plasterboard to improve its acoustic properties. So you can take 12.5mm plasterboard, screw it to your stud wall, take another 12.5mm plasterboard and screw it to your stud wall to double the sound insulation properties. You can also get fire resistant plasterboard. It's usually indicated by a red or pink colour, so it can be identified by the building inspector. A special type of plasterboard called moisture resistant plasterboard is often used in areas that might be subject to damp. This could include basements, cellars and bathrooms. Moisture resistant plasterboard is often green in colour, just to help you identify it on the building site. It's a little bit denser than normal plasterboard, and it's actually treated with a chemical that reduces the growth of mould. So if you're doing some plasterboard behind a shower, you can either use moisture resistant plasterboard, or you can actually use a cement board or a cement backer board. Because plasterboard is made from gypsum sandwiched between two coats of paper, it has relatively good insulative properties. If you have an external wall and you build a stud wall partition in front of it, clad that stud wall with plasterboard, you've already dramatically improved the thermal efficiency of the wall. So you can also buy plasterboard that has insulation attached to the back. So we've got a piece of plasterboard here with 12.5mm of plasterboard with 25mm of insulation stuck to the back. So that's actually insulated plasterboard, which gives you even more insulated protection, and that can be then dot and dabbed to your wall. Even square edge plasterboard and a cavity wall increases the thermal retention of the building. Plasterboard also provides a smooth, flat surface for decorative finishes. This could be wallpaper, paint, tiles, or in the UK, they like to treat plasterboard with a layer of skim. In America, they like to tape and joint plasterboard. So in America and Canada, they'll put two pieces of plasterboard together like that and fill and tape the joints. Whereas in the UK, they like to skim over all the plasterboards to have one even finishing coat. Either way looks good once it's been painted. With skim, it'll be a little bit more hard wearing, but costs more and takes more time. Whereas taping and jointing is often quicker, but it does mean your plasterboard is more susceptible to damage. Another good thing about plasterboard's use is that you can actually repair damaged areas. All you need to do is fill it in with another piece of plasterboard, then you need to add some filler, sand it smooth, and then you can paint it. So another benefit of plasterboard is that it's actually repairable. Plasterboard is often used as a cladding material to produce internal partition walls. You can have a metal stud partition wall or a timber stud partition wall, and it'll often be clad on both sides with plasterboard, possibly with some insulation in the middle. So it's a brilliant material to partition off rooms. It's also very cheap and mass produced, so plasterboard has lots of different applications. I've even seen it used in floors to act as a sound deadening layer. There are many advantages to plasterboard, and that's why it's become one of the world's favourite construction materials. Plasterboard is a lot cheaper than wood panelling and alternative materials because it's basically made from ground up rocks sandwiched between two layers of paper. Plasterboard is incredibly easy to install. It can either be dot and dabbed onto the wall. That involves taking some plasterboard adhesive, creating a load of spots on your wall, pushing the plasterboard up against it until that sets. You can use phosphate coated black plasterboard screws to fix your plasterboard to the stud partition wall. Alternative options to plasterboard include cement board. Plasterboard is also incredibly lightweight and easy to handle. You only need one person to fit plasterboard on a wall. I'd recommend using two people to plasterboard a ceiling. You can buy plasterboard in 8-foot by 4-foot sheets. That's an incredibly common size throughout the US and around the world and in the UK. You can also buy plasterboard sheets in 6-foot by 3-foot sizes. They're ideal for the ceiling. Because they're a slightly smaller plasterboard, they're a lot easier to manoeuvre. You don't want to get two step ladders and you and a friend at either end of an 8x4 plasterboard trying to screw it onto the ceiling. Frankly, there's nothing worse. If you buy the smaller boards, they're a lot more manageable, and plasterboarding your ceiling will be a far more enjoyable experience. Plasterboard can actually be layered to improve its capabilities. If you take two bits of standard plasterboard and double them up, it dramatically improves the fire resistance of the wall. Also, doubling up plasterboard significantly improves the acoustics of a room. If you found the points in this video helpful, drop us a like, and if you're looking for more educational content, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching.